Welcome to OLevels Economics Unit 30, Employment and Unemployment. People are considered to be in employment if they are paid employees or self-employed. In contrast, people are unemployed if they are willing and able to work but cannot find a job. The labour force consists of both the employed and the unemployed, meaning all the people available for work in an economy. Full employment occurs when unemployment is at its lowest possible level. This does not mean unemployment is completely eliminated, as some people are always between jobs, but it means most people who want to work are able to find employment. Over time, the pattern of employment in an economy changes. These changes may occur in the sectors people work in, the number of hours they work, the type of work they do, or the type of employer they work for. As economies develop, employment tends to shift from the primary sector, such as agriculture, to the secondary sector, which includes manufacturing, and eventually to the tertiary sector, which provides services. Within any economy, some industries expand while others decline, meaning workers need to be occupationally mobile, able to change the type of job they do, and geographically mobile, able to move to different locations for work. Another change in employment patterns is the increasing proportion of women in the labour force. In many countries, both the number and proportion of women in employment have been rising due to changing social attitudes and a reduction in gender discrimination. This has opened more job opportunities for women and increased their wages. There have also been changes in the balance between public and private sector employment. In a number of countries, the proportion of workers employed in the public sector has declined, while employment in the private sector has increased, often as countries move closer to market based economic systems. Most workers are employed full time, although some work part time. Some choose part time work to fit around family responsibilities or personal interests, while others are forced to work part time because they cannot find full time jobs. Another distinction is between employees and the self employed. In many developed countries, most people work for someone else as employees, although self employment is increasing. In some developing countries, including India and Pakistan, a large proportion of workers are already self employed, often in the informal economy. Workers in the informal economy do not have the same rights, protection, or benefits as those in the formal economy. They may not receive minimum wages, pensions, or social security benefits, and are rarely members of trade unions. As a result, they often have lower productivity, less training, and lower wages. Growth in the formal economy generally improves the quality of employment and labour productivity. Employment can also vary in quality. High quality employment usually involves skilled work that provides opportunities for training, promotion, good working conditions, and job security. Low quality employment is often unskilled, offers limited training, and provides poorer working conditions. As economies develop, the proportion of high quality jobs usually increases. Firms also seek a flexible labour force so they can adjust quickly to changes in market conditions. Flexibility can take several forms. Numerical flexibility refers to the ability of firms to change the number of workers they employ. Temporal flexibility involves changing the number of hours employees work. Locational flexibility allows workers to change where they work, while functional flexibility means workers can perform different tasks. Wage flexibility refers to the ability to adjust wages in response to economic conditions. Changes in employment levels can affect unemployment in different ways. If employment rises and unemployed workers fill the new jobs, unemployment will fall. However, both employment and unemployment can rise if the labour force grows faster than the number of available jobs. Unemployment may also fall without an increase in employment if unemployed people retire, return to education, migrate, or stop searching for work. The labour force may grow due to an increase in the working age population or a rise in the labour force participation rate. The participation rate is the proportion of people of working age who are economically active, meaning they are employed or actively seeking work. Some people of working age are economically inactive, including students in full time education, homemakers, early retirees, and the long term sick. Several factors influence the labour force participation rate. Higher wages encourage more people to seek work and may persuade older workers to remain in the labour force longer. Social attitudes toward women working, the availability of childcare and elderly care, and opportunities for disabled people to work also affect participation. A higher proportion of people in full time education reduces participation temporarily, but may improve the quality of the labour force. There are two main methods of measuring unemployment. The first is the claimant count, which measures the number of people receiving unemployment-related benefits. This method is quick and inexpensive, but tends to underestimate unemployment because not all unemployed people receive benefits. The second method is the Labour Force Survey, sometimes called the International Labour Organization measure. This method surveys households and asks individuals about their employment status. It counts people as unemployed if they do not have a job but have actively searched for work recently. This method allows international comparisons and usually provides a more accurate estimate of unemployment, although it takes longer to collect the information. Unemployment can arise from several causes. Frictional unemployment occurs when workers are temporarily between jobs while searching for new employment. Casual and seasonal unemployment, where workers experience gaps between jobs or work only at certain times of the year, are also forms of frictional unemployment. Structural unemployment occurs when industries decline due to long term changes in demand or supply. This may happen when other countries produce goods more efficiently, when substitutes replace products, or when technology replaces workers. Technological unemployment, caused by advances in information and communication technology, is one form of structural unemployment. Cyclical unemployment occurs when there is insufficient aggregate demand in the economy. During a recession, firms reduce production and therefore demand less labour, causing workers to lose their jobs. This type of unemployment is also known as demand deficient unemployment. Economists also distinguish between the stock and flow of unemployment. The number of people unemployed at any one time is known as the stock of unemployment. This stock depends on the number of people entering unemployment and how long they remain unemployed. Unemployment has serious consequences for individuals, firms, and the economy. For individuals, the most immediate effect is usually a fall in income. Losing a job may also reduce self esteem and cause stress, which can affect both mental and physical health. Long periods of unemployment may reduce a person's chances of finding another job as their skills may become outdated and their confidence may decline. For firms, unemployment can provide a pool of workers that can be hired when production expands and may reduce pressure for wage increases. However, high unemployment usually means lower consumer demand, which reduces sales and profits. For the economy, unemployment represents an opportunity cost because resources are not being fully used. When workers are unemployed, the economy produces fewer goods and services than it could. Unemployment also reduces government tax revenue while increasing government spending on benefits and other support. Governments can use different policies to reduce unemployment depending on its cause. To reduce frictional unemployment, governments may improve the flow of information about job vacancies or increase incentives to work. To reduce structural unemployment, governments often improve education and training, so workers gain the skills required in growing industries, and may encourage firms to locate in areas with high unemployment. To reduce cyclical unemployment, governments may use expansionary fiscal and monetary policies, such as increasing government spending, reducing taxes, or lowering interest rates to increase aggregate demand. When demand for goods and services rises, firms expand production and hire more workers. However, the success of these policies depends on whether the government correctly identifies the main cause of unemployment. For example, improving workers' skills will not reduce unemployment if there is insufficient demand for goods and services. Similarly, policies aimed at stimulating demand must be carefully managed because excessive spending could lead to inflation instead of higher employment. Thanks for watching.